from the Daily Mail. Brian Thompson manhunt live. Cops find a key item in Central Park in search of the UnitedHealthcare CEO's killer. So apparently, I've been hearing that they found the backpack. They say they've also obtained a DNA swab from a water bottle possibly dropped by the killer who has not yet been identified. They say that at the time of the killing, Thompson and his estranged wife Paulette had been living in separate homes. So this is crazy. Investigators have found a backpack in Central Park they believe may be linked to UnitedHealthcare CEO killer. An NYPD spokesperson told CNN.
In this wild mix of speculation, corporate drama, and political intrigue, Tim exposes key evidence like a backpack and DNA swabs, while also tearing into corporate hypocrisy and the cultural chaos surrounding it. Big names like Taylor Lorenz and some shady leftist Twitter celebrations make this even more heated. Is this a politically motivated hit? Are billionaires finally tasting the consequences of their own policies? Let's get into it and find out if Tim is right on the money or stirring the pot.
So here's what I think. Look, we're obviously tracking the details. A lot of speculation as to whether or not they're going to find this person. It sounds like from the corporate news, this guy may be the killer. And what they're saying is the reason why it's different clothing and it looks very different is that they think this is the guy prior to that day where he changed his clothes. And I don't know what the rumor was. Something like he may have been flirting, so he pulled his mask down or something like this.
Yeah.
Is that what you heard?
That's
what I
heard.
Yeah.
He was flirting, so he took the mask off.
So the jacket is different?
Lusted because of the thirst.
Yeah.
The thirst.
I just assumed it was like different camera, different color temperature, and
that's what I thought at first, but it's clearly a different jacket. Okay. When you look at the structure of the thickness,
looks like Michael Fassbender in Assassin's Creed.
When I heard the flirting, I was like, okay, you got Earl Flynn now.
Yeah.
I mean, is that
but look, we were just talking about Daniel Penny, and these billionaires and these CEOs who are all back in the Democrats. You got the CEO who just got gunned down. You've got all of these leftists celebrating it and calling for more.
All right. So Tim accuses leftists on Twitter of openly celebrating the murder. This broad strokes attack is clearly meant to rile up viewers, but let's not pretend everyone on one side of the aisle is popping champagne over this tragedy. If you want to talk about real concerns, focus on the targeting of CEOs or the potential political motives. This feels like a diversion to fan tribal flames.
And I'm like, is that the world they wanted to live in? Because now they're living in it. And the rest of us just left the cities.
I mean, this might be the best example of it actually directly affecting them specifically. But if the idea here is that they're going to back a candidate, say, who's going to be pro-abortion, where now what they have to do for a lot of times is like, look, we will pay for you to go get an abortion in another city rather than have you take maternity leave. They're going to operate in the best interest of the company until it starts affecting them directly, which is exactly what the leftists on Twitter are so excited about right now, which is why they're rejoicing about it. It's disgusting.
You know what? I was reading earlier this morning about CVS. CVS, because of this, they've started taking down the exec pictures and stuff from off the wall.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
I was like, wow.
What was it? Taylor Lorenz posted the picture of the
CEO of Blue Cross.
Yeah,
and then a bunch of these companies have taken down all the bios for their executive leadership. Yep.
Tim's on fire here, calling out these corporations for their reactive cowardice, removing executive details from websites. He labels it veiled terrorism, blaming Taylor Lorenz for a ripple effect across industries. But let's be real. If these CEOs are so willing to fund policies that affect everyone else, why the sudden panic when it hits home? This is elite hypocrisy 101, and Tim is hitting a nerve.
That is Taylor Lorenz's doing. She engaged in veiled terrorism, and they all responded.
And she doubled down on it.
Yeah, Blue Cross reversed a policy, and then all these big companies are now taking their photos and bios down from websites and deleting the pages.
Yep.
This is crazy. So here's what I think y'all need to consider. Do you think that these CEOs, these executives, saw the news and went, oh, geez, and then called and said, take those pages down? Or do you think these CEOs who contract some of the biggest security firms in the world got on the phone and said, what is this about? What do you think? And the security firm said, this is a targeted political hit. So I'll just say this. Having security, my understanding of this is we don't make moves without consulting security because that's why we pay them. Mm-hmm. So we've PO boxes and things like this. When they come to us and they tell us like, hey, here's the assessment, here's what we consider, we do it. So, for instance, when we were getting swatted in bomb threats, often the show would go on and we'd be like, oh, we were swatted earlier, but you didn't see it because security takes care of these things. But there was that one day where we evacuated the building for 3 hours. My point is, their security companies believe there is a strong enough possibility that this is a politically motivated assassination.
This is the big bombshell. Tim argues that companies aren't just acting out of fear, but based on assessments that this might be a political hit. It's a bold claim, but here's the kicker. Tim doesn't provide any evidence to prove it beyond speculation. Are we jumping to conclusions here, or is Tim connecting dots the media refuses to touch? Either way, this is the linchpin of the entire argument, and it demands scrutiny.
That's why they took action.
And wouldn't reversing policy and acquiescing actually make it worse?
Well, I don't know. I can't make an assessment on make it worse or not, but I don't think they make any move without consulting lawyers and security.
Right.
And so they probably go to their security company and say, what is the chance that this is targeting CEOs of healthcare companies, or is it anything else? The fact that they actually paid the money to remove this information, because not like it's the most expensive thing in the world,
right?
But the bigger the company, the more expensive it's going to be. They probably had to call a dev team and say, we need this taken down, get it done. And then it doesn't cost that much for a company this big. But it certainly means that they put in effort. They must believe there's a reasonable possibility this was politically motivated.
I wonder if the security companies actually were like, hey, like reached out and said, look, we're in charge of your security. You need to take these down now.
It could be this too. That it might be exactly that. Not that they know anything, but that they said, they may have called and said, if you publish your photo and your name, we can't protect you. And so the company then just reacted and did it.
Well, you know what? All of the pamphlets and all of the books that have the CEO pictures in those, you're going to, pull those too?
But the idea is like, first line of like the easiest thing first, right? So somebody will take more effort to go and find a pamphlet and then get information on that person. Just because a door lock can be can be passed really easily doesn't mean you don't lock your door.
Websites next.
This I'll give you guys another example because I'm very pro 2A, and I've often said that look, if you want to carry a gun and we do an event, I don't care. If I don't want to do the event because I'm scared of guns, I won't do the event. And then we can't get insurance or security.
Yeah.
So it's not even an issue of what I want and what I believe in. We get told by different security companies, you want to allow weapons in the event? Okay, we can't protect you. And they were like, you can pay us, but we tell you straight up, there's no security at your event. And we're like, okay. And they're like, so do you want security or not? And then the other issue is insurance. You want people to open carry or concealed carry at your event? Insurance says, sorry, not interested. Can't get insurance, can't do the event.
Is the same thing hold true? Is that why among other things, why federal buildings have the same?
No, federal buildings are they've made that law.
Yeah. But I'm saying like at banks and stuff, or any regular business that says,
it depends on the bank. I mean,
most banks have like a gun with a circle and a line through it, being like weapons are not permitted in the premises.
Unless you're a criminal, then you bring it anyways.
Because those don't do anything.
In New Hampshire, there's like none of the
private business. Like a private business, is that not just because federally it's looked upon?
What?
Is it like that with private businesses because they're not federally bound to have?
What do you mean is like?
Okay, so if you're at a CVS and you have like no guns allowed on the premises, right? Is that because of federal law? Is that just because of insurance?
That is likely because of a policy that the store owner has.
Okay.
It's not going to be a federal thing because the government isn't going to say, oh, you can't bring this into a privately owned business.
Tim Pool's take on this assassination is nothing short of explosive, but it's riddled with the same biases and leaps in logic he accuses others of making. The political framing and attacks on the left feel like low-hanging fruit, even as he rightly calls out corporate hypocrisy. The key takeaway? The CEO's murder has exposed vulnerabilities among the elite, and everyone's scrambling. Whether or not it's politically motivated, the fallout is massive, and Tim knows how to play that angle hard. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and subscribe to see more content like this in the future. Take care.